For centuries, the Great Pyramid of Giza has been entombed in a singular, stubborn narrative. We have been told it is a tomb, a colossal, silent sepulchre erected for the vainglory of a pharaoh, a monument to death's finality. This explanation has been handed down through the ages like a worn relic, its acceptance a matter of scholarly inertia. Yet, it is an explanation that rings hollow in the face of the structure itself, a solution that fails to account for the magnificent, unsettling mystery of the problem. No mummy was ever found in its granite cocoon, no funerary trappings befitting a god-king. Instead, we find only stark, soaring chambers, precision that defies the supposed technology of its age, and an architecture that seems to whisper of a purpose far grander, far more animate, than mere interment. What if we have been profoundly, collectively mistaken? What if the pyramid was never meant to house a dead body, but to awaken a living mind? This is the proposition we embark upon, that the Great Pyramid was not a tomb, but a consciousness machine. To approach this idea, we must first shed the skin of our modern, utilitarian worldview. We inhabit an era of surfaces, of literal interpretations, where a thing is only what it appears to be, and a tool's function is confined to its most obvious mechanical interaction. We see a hammer and think only of nails, we see a pyramid and think only of a corpse. This is the poverty of a disenchanted universe. The ancients, particularly those initiates of the mystery schools who it is believed orchestrated this construction, inhabited a world that was vibrantly, terrifyingly alive. For them, the cosmos was not a collection of dead matter and empty space, but a symphony of interlocking energies, a great ocean of consciousness in which all things, stone, star, and human soul, were participants. In such a world, architecture was not merely shelter, it was a form of geomancy, a sacred technology designed to interface with these unseen currents. A structure could be a lens, a resonator, a battery. Imagine, then, the Giza Plateau not as a silent necropolis, but as a kind of power station. Not one generating electricity as we understand it, but something more profound, a station for generating a state of being. The pyramid, in this light, becomes a device engineered to harness, focus, and amplify specific energies, both terrestrial and cosmic, to effect a transformation in human awareness. Its location is not arbitrary, it sits upon a powerful nexus of the Earth's telluric currents, much like an acupuncture point on the body of a planetary giant. Its shape is not merely for stability or grandeur, the pyramidal form itself is a fundamental geometric archetype, known to act as a natural accumulator and concentrator of energy, a phenomenon hinted at even in our own modern, fledgling experiments. Its precise alignment with celestial bodies, the star shafts targeting Orion and Sirius, the near-perfect cardinal orientation, suggests it is not just of the Earth, but of the cosmos, a receiving dish for stellar intelligences. This is the grand recontextualization we must undertake. We are not looking at a pile of 2 million stones, but at a single, coherent instrument. Its interior chambers are not waiting rooms for the dead, but calibrated environments for the living. The so-called King's Chamber, with its imposing granite sarcophagus, becomes not a coffin, but a resonant cavity, a place where a human initiate, lying in that stone trough, could be immersed in a field of focused vibration. The descending and ascending passages are not merely corridors, but waveguides, channels for directing energetic flows. The Grand Gallery, with its spectacular corbelled vault, is not an antechamber, but an accelerator, a majestic, rising frequency chamber designed to elevate the vibrational state of the individual moving through it. The entire structure is a circuit board etched in limestone and granite, a three-dimensional mandala designed to rewire the human nervous system and unlock dormant capacities of perception. To cross the threshold of this new understanding is to step into a different universe, one where history is not a linear progression from primitive to advanced, but perhaps a cyclical rhythm of forgetting and remembering. It suggests that our ancestors possessed a sophisticated psychospiritual technology, a science of the soul that we are only now, with our quantum physics and our neurobiology, beginning to rediscover. The pyramid stands as a silent, enduring rebuke to our arrogance, a testament to a knowledge that understood the universe as consciousness itself, and architecture as its most potent tool. It invites us to listen not for the whispers of a dead pharaoh, but for the hum of an active, operational system, a machine that, if we can learn to see it with new eyes, might still be functional, waiting only for the right key, a shift in our own awareness, to activate its ancient, profound purpose once more. This introduction has but opened the door to this vast and echoing hall of possibilities. The air here is thick with the dust of old ideas, but stirring with a new and electric potential. We have set the stage, proposing that this greatest of ancient wonders is a device for transcending the ordinary limits of the mind. The journey inward, into the core themes and concepts that form the blueprint of this consciousness machine, is now before us. To comprehend the pyramid as a consciousness machine is to learn a forgotten physics, one where mind and matter are not estranged opposites but fluent collaborators in a continuous dance of energy. The foundational principles upon which this machine operates are not the brute mechanics of levers and pulleys, but the subtle, pervasive laws that govern vibration, relationship, and the very structure of space-time. The first and most profound of these principles is that of sacred geometry. The pyramid is not merely a triangle-based solid, it is a crystallized expression of cosmic mathematics. Its base, a near-perfect square, is anchored in the four directions, the four elements, the manifest world of stability and form. Its four triangular faces rising to a single, conceptual point represent the journey of the manifold returning to the singular, of diversity ascending back to unity. The very angles of its incline are not arbitrary, they are derived from the divine proportions of pi and the golden ratio, constants that echo through the spirals of galaxies, the curve of a nautilus shell, and the proportions of the human body. To enter such a space is to step inside a living equation, a theorem made stone. The initiate is not just walking through halls, they are moving through the very archetypal patterns of creation, and the geometry itself, impressed upon their psyche, begins to retune their inner world to a more fundamental, harmonic frequency. It is a template for order, impressing cosmic order upon the chaotic waves of human thought. This leads us to the second core concept, the principle of resonance. If the universe is a symphony of vibrating strings, as modern string theory suggests, and every object, every thought, has its own fundamental frequency, then the pyramid can be understood as a masterfully crafted resonant chamber. Its construction materials are not incidental. The massive granite blocks in the king's chamber, for instance, contain a high quartz content. Quartz is piezoelectric, it vibrates at a precise frequency and can transform mechanical pressure into electrical charge and vice versa. The entire chamber, bathed in the subtle telluric currents of the earth and the acoustic vibrations of ritual chanting or even the earth's own infrasound, would have become a humming capacitor of energy. The initiate, lying within the granite coffer, which is not a sarcophagus but a resonant bath, would have their own cellular vibration, their own brainwave patterns, entrained to this pure, stable frequency. It is the same principle as an opera singer shattering a crystal glass. Here, the intent is not to shatter, but to synchronize. The glass is the veil of ordinary perception, and the resonant frequency of the pyramid is designed to crack it, allowing the individual consciousness to slip from the beta state of waking alertness into the theta and delta states of deep meditation, visionary trance, and transcendent awareness. The third pillar supporting this theory is that of celestial alignment. The machine is not only terrestrial, it is also a stellar instrument. The so-called air shafts leading from the king's and queen's chambers were not for ventilation, but for stargazing of a sacred kind. They are precisely targeted towards specific celestial bodies, the belt of Orion, associated with the Egyptian god Osiris, the lord of death and rebirth, and the star Sirius, linked to Isis, the goddess of magic and life. This is not mere mythology, it is a sophisticated astronomical code. The pyramid acts as a conduit, a timing mechanism that aligns the energies of the Earth with the cyclical pulses of the cosmos. During specific astrological epochs, when these star shafts were perfectly aligned, the pyramid would have been flooded with what the ancients might have conceived of as Sirian or Orionic energies. This transforms the structure from a static building into a dynamic chronometer, its function activated at precise moments in the Great Year, drawing down stellar influences to bait the initiate. It suggests a worldview where human consciousness can be upgraded, as it were, by plugging it directly into the galactic network, receiving downloads of intelligence from sources beyond our planet. Finally, we must consider the concept of the human body as the true instrument. The pyramid, for all its grandeur, is not the end, but the means. It is the amplifier, the tuner, the catalyst. The ultimate receiver and transducer of its energies is the human nervous system itself. The journey through the pyramid's interior is a symbolic and energetic map of the ascent of the Kundalini, the primal spiritual energy said to reside at the base of the spine. The descending passage represents the individual's rootedness in the material world. The ascending passage marks the turning point, the conscious decision to seek enlightenment. The Grand Gallery, with its dramatically soaring and narrow form, is the arduous climb up the spinal channel, activating each energy center, chakra, until one reaches the King's Chamber, the chamber of the crown, the pinnacle of human consciousness, where the individual soul meets the universal mind. The entire ritualized journey through the machine was designed to initiate a neurobiological event, to trigger a state of transcendent unity where the illusion of the separate self dissolves, and one experiences directly the truth of being a facet of the infinite, eternal consciousness. These four themes, sacred geometry, resonance, celestial alignment, and the human instrument, are not separate, they are the interwoven strings of a single, magnificent harp. The geometry shapes the resonance is timed by the stars, and all of it is focused upon the human being, the ultimate conscious witness, designed to awaken to its own divine nature. The pyramid does not contain consciousness, it evokes it. It is a key, and the lock it turns is within us. Having laid out the core principles, the functional blueprint of this ancient technology, we can now turn to the stories it tells, not in hieroglyphs, but in the silent, powerful language of its own symbolic narrative. To see the pyramid as a consciousness machine is to understand that its greatest power lies not in its physical properties alone, but in its function as a stage for a profound inner transformation. It is a three-dimensional story, a metaphysical script carved in stone, designed to guide a human soul through the ultimate ordeal, the death of the ego and the rebirth of the cosmic self. This journey is the deeper symbolic narrative, an allegory of descent and ascent that plays out in the silent, oppressive darkness of the monument's heart. Imagine an initiate, not a slave to a pharaoh, but a volunteer of the spirit, prepared for years through ritual, diet, and meditation for this culminating experience. They approach the pyramid not as a tomb, but as a womb of metamorphosis. The narrative begins with the descent into matter. The single, unadorned entrance on the northern face, aligned with the circumpolar stars, the so-called imperishable ones, is the first symbolic threshold. To cross it is to willingly turn one's back on the familiar, sunlit world of the senses and to enter the realm of the unseen. The initiate is immediately confronted with the descending passage, a long, narrow, and steeply sloping tunnel that plunges deep into the bedrock upon which the pyramid stands. This is no grand procession, it is a constriction, a compression. With every step downward, the weight of the world, the entire mass of the pyramid, seems to press upon them. Symbolically, this is the journey into the underworld, into the depths of the personal and collective subconscious. It is a confrontation with everything one has repressed, feared, and forgotten. The initiate is walking back along their own timeline, to the primal, chaotic foundation of their being, to the raw, unformed matter of their own psyche. The chamber at the end of this passage, a rough-hewn room left unfinished and abandoned deep in the earth, represents the nadir of this journey, the complete and utter dissolution of the personal identity, the death of the ego. Here, in the profound silence and darkness, all sense of who they were, their name, their status, their history, is stripped away. It is a symbolic entombment, a necessary ending. But this ending is merely the precondition for a new beginning. The narrative then pivots, not with a fanfare, but with a hidden potential. Somewhere along the descending passage, a secret, sealed entrance leads to the ascent toward the light, the beginning of the ascending passage. This is the turning point, the spark of divine will that emerges from the ashes of the dissolved self. To find this passage is to choose rebirth. The ascending passage is a mirror of the descending one, but its direction is everything. It is a birth canal, steep, claustrophobic, and demanding immense effort to climb. It represents the arduous struggle to reform the self, no longer as a separate ego, but as a vessel for a higher principle. The initiate must crawl upward, toward an unknown destination, fueled only by faith in the faint, intuitive pull of a light not yet seen. This struggle culminates in an explosion of space and grandeur, the Grand Gallery. This is the narrative's climax, a breathtaking architectural marvel that defies all mundane explanation. Its soaring, corbelled walls create a narrow, towering void that pulls the eye and the spirit upward. To stand here, after the confines of the passages, is to feel the heart and mind expand exponentially. This is not a hallway, it is an experience of the awakening of the higher mind. The gallery symbolizes the fully activated spine of the spiritual body, the channel through which the Kundalini energy now flows unimpeded. Each of the corbels could be seen as a step in an invisible staircase, each one elevating the consciousness to a new level of vibrational understanding. The journey through the gallery is one of purification and empowerment, where the initiate is flooded with the energies harnessed by the pyramid's geometry. It is a walk through the very architecture of enlightenment, a rising crescendo in the symphony of the self. At the apex of this ascent lies the king's chamber, the sanctuary of the crown. The narrative here shifts from struggle to reception. The chamber is built not of limestone, but of immense, resonant granite, a stone of fire and permanence. Its proportions are those of a sacred harmonic. The so-called sarcophagus, empty and stark, sits waiting. This is the final stage of the narrative, the reception of the cosmic Christos. The initiate, having died to their old self and been reborn in the Grand Gallery, now lies within the granite coffer. But they are not a corpse, they are a seed in the soil, a receiver being tuned. The chamber, vibrating with the accumulated energies of the earth and the stars focused through the star shafts, becomes an alchemical crucible. Here, the individual human consciousness, now stripped of its dross and purified, is given the opportunity to momentarily fuse with the universal, cosmic consciousness. It is a state of non-dual awareness, of unio mystica. The king that is crowned in the king's chamber is not a man, but the divine spark within the man, the immortal, transcendent self that was always there, merely obscured by the noise of the personality. It is the realization that one is not a drop in the ocean, but the entire ocean in a drop. This entire symbolic narrative, the descent, the death, the struggle, the ascent, and the final unification, is the true function of the machine. It is a guided, accelerated, and powerfully supported initiatic experience. The pyramid does not tell the story, it makes it happen. It uses the very journey through its physical space to trigger the corresponding psychological and spiritual states within the initiate. It is a story written in stone and energy, designed to be lived, not read, and its final chapter is not an end, but a beginning, the return of the transformed individual to the world, carrying the silent, unshakable knowledge of their own divine nature. This profound inner journey, this symbolic death and rebirth, may seem a world away from our daily lives. But what if its principles were not confined to that ancient stone? What if we could learn to see the blueprint of this machine reflected in the very structure of our own existence? The first and most immediate implication is the radical re-enchantment of our own personal space. We need not live in a pyramid to benefit from its core principles. The understanding of sacred geometry invites us to see our homes, our workplaces, the very rooms we inhabit, not as neutral containers, but as resonant cavities that actively shape our inner state. The chaotic, cluttered environment of a modern apartment, with its harsh angles and sensory overload, is the antithesis of the king's chamber. It generates psychic static. Conversely, the conscious introduction of harmony, proportion, and sacred shapes, a circle, a vesica piscis, A carefully placed crystal that mimics the piezoelectric properties of granite can begin to transform a space into a subtle resonator for peace and clarity. This is not mere interior design, it is domestic geomancy. It is the application of the knowledge that our surroundings are not separate from us, but are an extension of our own energy field, constantly in a dialogue of influence. By curating our personal environments with intention, we build small, modern-day pyramids of the hearth, creating sanctuaries that support rather than deplete our consciousness. This leads directly to the principle of resonance in our daily practices. The pyramid functioned by generating a stable, pure frequency to which the initiate's mind could entrain. We are surrounded by a cacophony of competing, often disruptive, frequencies, the frantic pulse of digital media, the anxiety of the news cycle, the low-grade hum of perpetual busyness. The practical takeaway is the non-negotiable need to consciously generate our own resonant field. The daily practice of meditation is the most direct modern equivalent of lying in the granite coffer. It is the deliberate act of stepping out of the chaotic frequencies of the world and tuning the instrument of the self back to its fundamental tone. The breath becomes the ascending and descending passage, the focus becomes the grand gallery leading the awareness upward, and the state of silent, thought-free presence is the king's chamber. Similarly, the sounds we allow into our lives, whether the dissonance of aggressive music or the harmonic structures of chanting, classical music, or simply silence, act as the vibrational bath. We are, in every moment, choosing the frequency we wish to become. The pyramid teaches us to take responsibility for that choice with the precision of an engineer. Furthermore, the concept of celestial alignment finds its practical application in the rhythm of our lives. The pyramid was a chronometer, aligning its most potent work with specific cosmic cycles. We have become profoundly disconnected from these rhythms, living by the artificial, relentless tick of the clock rather than the organic pulse of the sun, moon, and seasons. To reintegrate this is to move from being a machine of production to a conscious participant in a cosmic dance. It means honoring the darkness of the new moon as a time for the symbolic descent, for introspection, rest, and releasing what no longer serves us. It means celebrating the full moon as a time of illumination and culmination, a mini grand gallery where projects and intentions reach their peak clarity. It involves aligning our most important work with the rising sun, and our surrender and sleep with the setting sun. This is not superstition, it is sophisticated bioharmonics. It is living in sync with the same cosmic clock that the pyramid was built to harness, allowing the larger energies of the universe to support our endeavors rather than fighting against them. Perhaps the most profound real-world implication is the redefinition of challenge and suffering. The initiate's journey was not one of ease, it involved a terrifying descent into darkness and a grueling ascent. Our own lives are filled with such descents: loss, failure, illness, depression. The pyramid's narrative reframes these not as meaningless punishments or random misfortunes, but as potential initiatory passages. The dark night of the soul is our descending passage. The feeling of being trapped, compressed, and stripped of our identity is not the end of the story, it is the necessary dissolution of the ego that precedes a higher integration. The struggle to rebuild, to find a new way forward, is our ascending passage. The moments of breakthrough, clarity, and expanded understanding are our grand gallery. When we can view our personal trials through this symbolic lens, they are imbued with purpose. We stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and begin to ask, "What is this seeking to initiate within me? What old self is being asked to die so that a new one can be born?" This shift in perspective is alchemical, it transforms the lead of suffering into the gold of wisdom. Finally, the ultimate practical integration is the embodiment of the crowned king or queen, the realized self, in everyday life. The purpose of the journey through the machine was not to remain in a blissful state in the king's chamber, but to return to the world, transformed. The real-world test of this ancient technology is not in the depth of our meditations, but in the quality of our interactions. It is expressed as unshakable equanimity in the face of traffic, as profound compassion during a difficult conversation, as the quiet joy found in a simple moment. It is the ability to hold a higher frequency amidst the chaos, to be a walking, talking king's chamber, radiating the stability and clarity one has cultivated internally. The pyramid, in the end, is a model for building a life that is not a reaction to external circumstances, but a conscious creation from an unassailable inner center. We have journeyed from the monumental to the personal, from the cosmic principles of the machine to their intimate echoes in our own existence. We have seen how its stones are metaphors for our struggles, and its chambers, templates for our sanctuaries. Now, let us gather these threads into a final, unified vision. And so we arrive at the final chamber of our exploration, not as an end, but as a point of synthesis, a place to gather the echoes of all that has been unveiled and to listen for the single, clear note they form together. The journey through the idea of the pyramid as a consciousness machine has been, in itself, a kind of initiatory passage. We have descended from the surface-level narrative of a tomb, moved through the ascending corridors of geometry and resonance, and emerged into the grand gallery of symbolic meaning and practical application. Now, we stand at the threshold of the final understanding, which is not about a distant, ancient structure, but about the here and the now, and the untapped potential humming within the very core of our being. The Great Pyramid, in its silent, enduring majesty, has never been a relic pointing backward into a dead past. It has always been a beacon, a compass needle oriented toward a future possibility of human consciousness. Its true secret is not hidden in a lost scroll or a sealed chamber, but in its very existence as a proof of concept. It stands as a monumental testament to a forgotten truth, that consciousness is not a fragile, ephemeral byproduct of the brain, but a fundamental force of the universe, as tangible and manipulable as stone and gravity to those who understand its laws. The pyramid is the ultimate expression of a science that did not divorce the material from the spiritual, but saw them as two poles of a single, dynamic reality. It demonstrates that the inner world of awareness and the outer world of form are a continuum, and that by shaping one with intention, you can directly sculpt the other. This is the great heresy and the great hope it offers to our modern, fragmented world, that transcendence is not an accident of grace, but a technology of the soul. This understanding issues a transformational call that is both deeply personal and profoundly collective. The personal call is to recognize that you, yourself, are the living successor to that ancient machine. Your body, with its crystalline structures and its electromagnetic fields, is your own king's chamber. Your breath is the ascending and descending passage, the conduit of life force. Your focused awareness is the precision-aligned star shaft, capable of drawing down insights from the cosmos of your own higher mind. The rituals of the initiate have been replaced by the daily, conscious choices of your life. The meditation session is your journey into the resonant silence. The intentional act of compassion is the alignment with a cosmic law. The moment you choose peace over reactivity, you are calibrating your inner instrument. You are called to become the architect and initiate of your own consciousness, to stop seeing yourself as a passive occupant of your mind and to pick up the tools of builder, the tools of sacred intention, disciplined attention, and vibrational integrity. Collectively, this knowledge implores us to reimagine the very foundations of our civilization. We have built a world that is, in many ways, an anti-pyramid. We construct environments of chaotic noise and visual pollution that scatter our energy. We celebrate a culture of distraction that prevents the deep focus necessary for the grand gallery ascent. We worship a linear, grasping progress that has forgotten the essential, fertile power of the symbolic descent into stillness and introspection. The call, then, is to begin building a new world, not of limestone and granite, but of institutions, social structures, and cultural values that reflect the pyramid's principles. To create education systems that teach children about resonance and energy alongside reading and arithmetic. To design cities that incorporate sacred geometry and green space to nurture rather than deplete the human spirit. To foster a media landscape that offers harmonic frequencies instead of dissonant fear. We are called to use the blueprint of the world's most enduring mystery not to recreate the structure, but to recreate its function, to build a society that operates as a consciousness machine, elevating everyone within its sphere. The pyramid's final message is one of timeless hope. It asserts that the state of unity, of cosmic consciousness, of peace that passes understanding, is not a mythical fantasy. It is a state of being that can be engineered, that can be entered, because it is the fundamental substrate of what we are. The machine did not create something new in the initiate, it simply removed the interference, the static of the ego, the dissonance of separation, that was blocking the signal of what was always and already there. Your work, your journey, is the same, not to become something you are not, but to remember and embody what you truly are. To sand away the rough stone of conditioned thought and emotional reactivity until the perfect, polished granite of your essential self is revealed, capable of resonating with the music of the spheres. The Great Pyramid does not ask for our worship. It does not demand our baffled reverence. It extends an invitation. It is a silent question posed across the millennia. Will you remain a spectator to the mystery of your own mind, or will you pick up the tools and become the co-creator of your own awakening? The passage is open. The choice of whether to make the descent, to endure the ascent, and to claim your kingship in the silent chamber of your own heart, has always been, and will always be, yours alone. The machine has been waiting, not for a pharaoh, but for you.